Hello, everybody. I'm Chris Lee of Southeastern 14. Today, we are continuing our SEC schedule previews for the football season. Blake Lovell not with me today, but he'll be back soon. And today, we do our third preview. That's Kentucky. Kentucky is playing this year sort of a typical Kentucky schedule. Mark Stoops has done a great job of building that program. He's scheduled smart. The SEC is brutal. He has done a good job of building in some wins. Maybe out of conference is a little tougher than some years past this year, but certainly there's some wins built into the schedule. And in the meantime, he's improved that program enough to where they can legitimately beat SEC teams, as some people like Tennessee and Florida have recently found out. But with that, let's get into Kentucky's schedule for this year. I'll pop that up on my screen. And some notes about the schedule to start. Not any SEC team has got an easy schedule, but Kentucky's, again, one of the easier in the league. Phil Steele has ranked it as the third easiest in the SEC this year, including, of course, the out-of-conference games, but still, it's 35th nationally because, of course, you're playing 8 SEC teams, and so it's never going to be easy no matter how you slice the schedule. Kentucky also has 8 home games this year. That also helps. That's part of that smart scheduling. Kentucky has scheduled a lot of games at home in years past, and so that certainly helps your chances at bowl eligibility, which Kentucky has now become a perennial bowl team. Anyway, let's get right into things. You can see on the screen the Wildcats open with Miami of Ohio. I'm doing a composite ranking from some credible sources to see where all these teams place. Miami of Ohio about 88th nationally in what I've seen so far, and where they're ranked in the power rankings in the FBS. Then a very interesting game. Kentucky goes to Florida, and I've said this on some different shows or some different schedule previews. I think you'd probably rather face Florida sooner rather than later in the season. Billy Napier is building that program. Dan Mullen left it in kind of bad shape, but there's always talent at Florida. And so I would probably rather catch Florida sooner rather than later, which Kentucky does. And so that's going to be probably a toss-up game in the Swamp, or pretty close to it. Next comes Youngstown State. And this is not your father's Youngstown State team. Youngstown State has traditionally been a team that is one of the top teams in the FCS. That's not the case this year. They are not ranked in any of the preseason rankings that I've seen. And just for comparison's sake, they finished 143rd last year in the Sagarin rankings, which combines all the FCS and FBS teams. Then Kentucky gets Northern Illinois at home. NIU last year went to a bowl game, won the MAC. Maybe a little down from last year, probably not much, but Thomas Hammock has taken Northern Illinois into a pretty good place, and they're ranked about 90th nationally in the computer rankings that I'm looking at right now. Then it gets tougher. A trip to Ole Miss and what will be a contrast of styles. Kentucky with that grinded-out running game. Ole Miss with Jackson Dart, I'm sure, is going to try to throw it a lot, as it has under Lane Kiffin. So that'll be an interesting one. That's October the 1st in Oxford. South Carolina, October the 8th. Again, you're looking at a team that is sort of rebuilding in Carolina. Shane Beamer kind of got the Gamecocks ahead of schedule. They played really well at the end of last year. This is going to be a tough one no matter where you play it, but this one is going to be in Lexington. Next is Mississippi State, a team that upset Kentucky a year ago. Again, contrast in style. State is going to play fast. It's barely going to run the ball. It's going to throw the ball all over the yard with Will Rogers. So that's going to be a very interesting contrast of styles once again as Kentucky faces Mike Leach's bunch. Then comes a bye, which is probably good timing because there's a really tough game with Tennessee coming up. Tennessee and Ole Miss, to this point of the schedule, and let me pull this up here, those are probably going to be the toughest 2 games that the Cats face to this point of the schedule. Again, Tennessee is going to play fast. It's going to throw the ball a lot. Going to be very interesting to see how the Cats handle that. Then comes Missouri, probably one of the more winnable games on Kentucky's SEC schedule, followed by the most winnable game on Kentucky's SEC schedule. That one is going to be Vanderbilt. That'll be in Lexington. The game was a little closer last year and I think most people would have expected. But Vanderbilt is really in the spot that Kentucky was in 8 or 9 years ago under Mark Stoops, trying to create an identity. It's in his second year under Clark Lee. If that game is competitive, I'll be surprised. Then it gets really interesting. Kentucky plays Georgia. And last year, that game was closer than most people would have thought. Kentucky gave Georgia one of its better games of the year. Two teams, again, that are similarly built, I guess, in some ways. Obviously, Kentucky's talent is not what Florida's is, but two teams that love to run the ball, that really put most of their talent probably first on the defensive side of the ball because both head coaches were defensive minds and defensive coordinators. So again, going to be tough for Kentucky to beat Georgia. But again, let's remind you, a year ago, Kentucky made that game a lot tougher than anybody thought, and this one is in Lexington. Finally, the Cats in with that rivalry game with Louisville. Scott Satterfield doing a good job of really taking a Louisville program that had hit rock bottom. Kentucky still will have an advantage in this one, but Louisville, I'm seeing in the power rankings this year, expected to be maybe a top 40 team nationally. So again, that's no pushover. It's a rivalry game, and Kentucky-Louisville, always one that the fans get up for. Should be interesting. In any case, this concludes our preview of Kentucky's schedule. We are now 3 down in the SEC. We have hit Arkansas. We have hit Alabama. Lots more to come. Thank you for watching. And remember, hit that subscribe button, as we're going to be rolling out tons of SEC content here as we inch closer to the SEC season.